everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts, special edition of this show. Joined with me at the last moment because, this was an emergency pod. And I reached out like, Don, come on, man. Are you gonna help me do this? And he's like, yeah, bro, give me an hour. What's up, Donald? What's
up,
your
bro?
initial reaction when you heard that Jonathan Taylor got a 3-year extension, $14 million a year and 26.5 guaranteed?
Get your money, young fella. Get your money while you can. So I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him on the strength of players getting paid. So I think it's a good day for Jonathan. It's a good day for Colts, the Colts fans, Colts Nation. Lock up our premier running back, right? And so it's major. It's major.
Well, what's funny is all offseason I talked about, from what I was gathering from Chris Ballard and what I was seeing from the different interviews and podcasts that he showed, he wanted to extend Jonathan Taylor, but he was hurt, right? Just had that ankle surgery. He said, look, we just went through this whole situation with, 4 wins on a season, plus he's hurt, and then he said, so I'm not giving any extensions right now, back, referring back in training camp. And he said, but I don't have a problem giving extensions during the season. To me, that felt like he needed to see him. He needed to make sure he was good. The old Jonathan Taylor, before, he decided to give him that extension. And apparently it only took 2 practices, dude. 2 practices, and he's like, here, sign on the dotted line.
Right. It's at the end of the day, it is a business. The hard part is you're dealing with human elements. Mm-hmm. And you can't pay for something that is not with this magnitude of money that's not 100%, where I don't know what product I'm going to get on the field. Mm-hmm. And so the Colts, clearly they show that they still love and they want Jonathan Taylor here in Indianapolis. But at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself too. And so, we have to look at it from a standpoint of where they're looking at it from, right? Like we can't, okay, yeah, you want your best running back out there. You don't want to lose him. You don't want to see him go to another team. The price tag's high, right? And so during training camp, that's a big commit when you say, all right, man, go ahead. Try to go find somewhere else that somebody's going to pay you the money. And every team doesn't have that, cap space, what have you, or are willing to take that risk when someone's not 100% either. So, they had to wait for him to be 100%. It was drama filled, right? It was something that, Colts fans, we had to endure and hope for the best. But here's the deal. The Colts aren't stupid. Anthony Richardson is a young quarterback. He needs extra help as much as he can get, especially on offense. And so, you like what we saw from the run game, so to speak, so, but it can be a lot better. And so Jonathan Taylor provides that security, a veteran leader on the offense, a guy that has shown that he can run the football effectively. The hard part is going to be getting him back acclimated into the offense. And just because Jonathan Taylor's back, doesn't mean that we're going to be rushing for 150 yards, 200 yards a game. It doesn't mean that, right? Because guys still have to do their job up front. Guys still have to block on the perimeter. And also, if Anthony doesn't play well, then they're just going to load the box for Jonathan Taylor to shut the run game down. So it's all full circle, and everyone has to pull their own load here. But it is great to have Jonathan Taylor back in the locker room and suited up on Sundays.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what else is great? Well, first off, before I go into anything else, I just want to remind everyone that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino or card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Now, I want to go back a little bit. You were talking about, he asked for a trade, right? And all of this. And obviously, it came out. The Colts wanted a first-round pick or better for Jonathan Taylor, and everybody, there was so many people out there that was, screaming and yelling that the Colts were trying to hold Jonathan Taylor hostage with this first-round pick. Why are you wanting a first-round pick for somebody that you're not wanting to extend? Well, first off, they wanted to extend him. Secondly, it proves to me, in my opinion, and sorry about the fire truck just went by. In my opinion, they really did value him as a first-round pick. You don't pay a guy $14 million a year unless you value him very, very highly, right? And so that, to me, they weren't holding him hostage. Ballard just wasn't going to give away maybe his best playmaker on offense for nothing, right?
Who would, right? I mean, you have a thoroughbred in the stable. He has proven that when he's healthy, he's effective. He makes plays. He's one of the top 3 running backs in the league. When healthy, you're not giving him away for a second, third, fourth round pick. You're just not doing that. You're not doing it. They know what they have. They're not holding him hostage. Like I said in the beginning, this is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And the Colts and any front office is going to protect their business first and do what's best for the business, best for the team, best for cap space, what have you. And so Jonathan Taylor was just, he wasn't held hostage, but he just succumbed to how good he was and how he's going to be, dealed around if they have to give him up, right? And so this is part of the business. It worked out in the end. Now, I do have my reservations about it. Every time that we see a running back get paid or hold out or, demand more money or what have you, or be at odds with the front office, sometimes it doesn't end well. And it's just, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen here with Jonathan Taylor. I'm just telling you, I'm going off of data. I'm going off of what we've seen in the past. We can run down the list of running backs. We can run down the list of running backs. You've seen it every year, if not every year, every other year, of a running back that demanded to get paid. And the thing is this, he's got to stay healthy. He can't be a distraction, and his production cannot drop off. It just can't, right? At this point, his production drops off. The fingers are going to get pointed at him. This is just what you've inherited, because now you're the cash king over there, at the running back position, and it's hard to justify it if you're not playing at that caliber that you used to play at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right after getting signed, Christian McCaffrey done for a season with an injury, but you look at him now, and he's worth that 16 mil, right? But I mean, the year after that, not a good situation. We all remember the Le'Veon Bell incident. We know what's going on with Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, right?
Yeah. See, I wasn't going to say names, right?
I will. I don't care.
No. I don't care either. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, you know what? I'm going to hold off on saying a couple of names just because I want to keep this about Jonathan. But I'm just saying, we have the data that supports the argument. That's all I'm saying, right? And so at the end of the day, when we look at it, no matter how you chop it up, dice it, whatever, I don't want that to be the case. I want to see someone get paid. But then if you look at even at the Saquon Barkley deal, he demands more money. He holds out. He gets paid, what he feels like he should be getting paid. And then boom, he's been out with the past 2 games, with the ankle injury.
Just got signed last year.
It's hard, right? It's hard to really justify it when you have guys that not mess it up, because the injury thing is one thing, but when guys get paid, they demand to get paid and the production drops off, teams see that too. And they're like, the Colts see that. They saw the Ezekiel Elliott deal. They saw the Le'Veon Bell situation. And those situations didn't end well for either one of them or those franchises. And quite honestly, it kind of set them back a little bit. We can argue Cowboys, are playing well without him. Yes, they are. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to run the ball effectively, and it's going to come down and hurt them at the end. You know how I feel about the Cowboys. They got to throw a little jab, and I can't stand them. But I do hope that this ends well for both sides, Jonathan and the Colts. I'm never against a player getting his money where he feels like his value is. If you feel like you're worth that, and you have the resume, or there's the cat. You have the resume to back it. Hey, go get your money, young fella. So, he got it. Good for him. Essentially, if you really look at this deal, it's a 2-year deal. You got 2 years to be effective, and then if not, you'll be somewhere in the Ezekiel Elliott's or Le'Veon Bell's of the world because the price tag's too high. So
yeah, I mean, going into this deal a little bit, I mean, they basically, for the next 2 seasons after this year, they're basically giving Jonathan Taylor what they would pay on average for a franchise tag. And then there's the 3rd year at the end of it, which is if you're still playing good, you've got that 3rd year. If you're not, we can let you go and it don't cost us jack, right? And
Nope.
that's good for both. That's good for both sides, right? That's
no, it
very
is. I mean, all players want is some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? They want some type of security.
Mm-hmm.
You want security. You don't want to have to go into this thing every year and renegotiate. What if I don't play well? What if I miss a couple games? What if whatever happens? I don't like my coach. We get at odds with each other. All those things. Now that goes into the equation of how much we're going to pay this guy, how they respond. So, guys just want that security to be able to say, all right, I'm good for the next couple of years, and then we'll revisit it, the following. Like, I know I'm not going to get the full, 42. Granted, I pray I do, right? But realistically, the guarantee money is what you got to look at. $26 million is, roughly those 2 years. And so we'll give you that. Plus, another 2 on top of it, for, whatever. But essentially that's all that it is, right? So he's got 2 years to prove his worth. He missed a few games this year. It's time to pick it up. I mean, you got to, he knows his offense. He's been around it all training camp. He knows it. He's been in the meeting rooms. He's been in the locker room. He's watched the games. He's heard the feedback. He knows what it is. He should be able to insert. He should be familiar with this offensive line for the most part. And so with all that being said, it's time to rock and roll. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do, especially, starting tomorrow. Right. I mean, it's time to roll. Right. And so, hopefully, guys that we're filling in don't feel some type of way and their production doesn't drop. Hopefully that motivates them to, when they get the ball, we have a 2-headed monster now with 2 running backs, and that before you know it, it's, you got to make a decision on the next running back to keep him there, because hell, some teams are going to be like, well, I want him to be my starter because this guy's productive too. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that goes into the equation for this game now. It changes some things, and I don't want to get off topic, but it changes the way we're going to call plays, right? It's going to change the flow of the offense up now because we can do more things, right? I don't see Jonathan, splitting out and running routes as much. But that's not the type of, he's not a McCaffrey kind of, skills tool set. But at the end of the day, he's a downhill physical runner. We need that. When we need yards, and it's going to change the element. I guarantee you now, if you look at the lines, that Colts line has changed a little bit with that, knowing that Jonathan's coming back and he's paid, and you got a motivated guy that showed that he's a top 3 running back in the league a couple years ago.
See, just like 2 weeks ago, you were talking about how the Colts need to find a way when we were playing the Ravens to get outside the tackle, stretch plays, things of that nature. Jonathan Taylor has that stretch speed. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And with this RPO system, right, it's effective with Zach Moss, but Moss doesn't have that speed. Mm-hmm. So now that you got Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor together, those 2 big, fast dudes back there in the backfield, that's going to put a lot of pressure on defensive front sevens the rest of the year with those 2 guys being together. For basically, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, 3-year extension, we basically have Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson together for the entirety of Anthony Richardson's rookie contract outside of a 5th-year option, right? So that's going to be huge. But let's be a little bit realistic here, Donald. He's had 2 practices. How much do you honestly expect him to play tomorrow against the Tennessee Titans?
Like I said before a couple of weeks ago, it takes a while to get back into game shape. You can do workouts and run and do simulated game speed where you run a play, you'll run it, then you'll get back and have 40 seconds to rest. And you run another play and blah, blah, blah. But you got to take into account the hits. That takes a lot out of you too. It messes with your wind. I don't see Jonathan being the main workhorse tomorrow. I see him getting sprinkled in there. I'll be interested to see if he is the starting running back tomorrow. I'll probably say he might be, but I would have to guess that he's going to get spelled pretty quick, just so that he doesn't get burnt out, and just so that, because you don't want him to be out there and be tired, because if he's out there and he's tired, you know that you're susceptible to getting hurt faster. So the last thing you want is a tired Jonathan Taylor out there. You want to work him in gradually, get him in. You know, hey, Jonathan, you got this first series. Zach, you're going to take the next 2 after that. Jonathan, you got the series after that. So don't expect to see Jonathan have, 10 carries in the first quarter, or maybe even the first half, right? He might be 15 carries on the day total, for 60 something yards. Don't be alarmed by that. Just know that you have to gradually work him in. The good part is, he's been around for training camp. He's seen it. He knows the calls. He knows the plays. He knows all of that. So that's not what we have to worry about. It's going to be the workload for him, and you have to gradually work him in, especially now where it's another element for the coach. It's like, all right, take care of your guy. You just paid him a boatload of money. Work him in. Don't be so thirsty to say, we need a win right now. We got to get this. We need Jonathan. You got to put this on your shoulders. That's not the game plan. So it adds an extra element in where this is a 3-week process. This is a 3-game process of working him up. Practice, you want to give him reps. You don't want to give him too many reps, right? But you want to give him enough reps where he's getting more acclimated to the offense, and just kind of like let him you'll know when he's all the way ready to take the reins, and you can let him go. But you got to work him in right now, and 2 practices is definitely not enough.
No, I absolutely not. And I may be off base here. I don't think I am. We'll get your opinion on this. Yesterday during my my preview of the game, I said I figured Jonathan Taylor somewhere between 5 and 10 touches maybe during the game, is where I figured he might get, if he got any playing time at all, against the Titans. But here's the thing. What worries me the most is the fact that Jonathan Taylor literally has 2 practices. Now, I understand he knows the playbook and all that. I'm not worried about that because he's had time to look at the playbook and be out there on the field and watch things, do the mental reps, right? But he's running with Anthony Richardson, a guy he'd never taken a snap from, in an RPO system, right? And there's something to be said about RPOs when a quarterback hands you the football or pulls it back, right? And there's different feels. First off, the way the quarterback hands it to you, quarterback's got to know where the running back wants it, in his breadbasket. Some like it a little higher than others. Some like it a little lower than others. And then different quarterbacks, when they pull that ball back in the RPO, while they're watching, it's going to feel different for the running back. And you don't want the running back clamping down when the quarterback pulls it back, because that's a turnover, right? The ball then hits the ground. So that, I feel like, is going to take a little bit more than just 2 practices to really fully get comfortable between the running back and the quarterback exchange from the RPO standpoint, right? Your traditional just hand the football off on a play action or something of that nature, he could probably get that in 1 practice, but I feel like an RPO might take a little bit longer.
Yeah, so there's that element that comes to it with just the running back getting comfortable with the quarterback and how he hands the ball off and how he's going to pull it back and all that. I would have to say I would err on the side of, just from the standpoint of, there's going to be a lot of making Anthony Richardson run the football. I don't see that backside end, staying home and making sure that, I see him crashing. I see them really wanting to try to get Anthony Richardson to run the football instead of having Jonathan Taylor run the football. And that's just what if I was a D coordinator, I would say, listen, they got 2 guys that can run the football back there. I would rather have the guy that's not the real running back running the football, and let's make him fumble the football or get him out the game, right? Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, you got to deal with that, right? So like, he's going to get his touches. He's the marquee, the premier running back here. but you don't want to run a ton of RPOs. That's the thing I've been saying all year. Like Anthony can run the football, but I just don't want him running the football all the time. I don't want that to be the main focus of this deal. I think that this with Jonathan coming back, now Anthony gets a chance to really see one-on-one coverage. He gets a chance to not see a ton of double coverage on the receivers because they have to respect the running game. When you load the box, you're saying, listen, we're stopping your running game. We don't care about you throwing the football because you can't throw the football. But when you only have 7 in the box, sometimes 6 in the box, and they're like, listen, we're gonna make you throw the football because you guys can't run the football, then that's a different game plan. So all this does is this is going to help Anthony become a quarterback where he's going to be able to see, okay, I got one-on-one matchup out here. I can get the ball down the field. And I think this is going to open up Anthony, his quarterback game to not just be this, oh, shoot, double coverage, two safeties, whatever it is. I got to pull the football and run, and we have another concussion situation. Yeah. Now he can drop back, and they got to respect the run. So now we got one-on-one coverage outside. We got to be able to pick on a younger corner or a weaker secondary. And now we can really play football. It opens up the offense more. So I'm glad that this Jonathan Taylor situation happened because it's not just Jonathan. This helps out the whole offense. When he's on the field, it helps out the whole offense because you're not going to just leave 6 in the box and dare them to run. If they do, then you got your hands full, and you better have a secondary that can tackle.
Right.
Because you let him get outside those tackles, you let him get running. And when he gets running, he gets moving, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have noticed, and this will be my last point before we get out of here, is that Shane Steichen loves these RPO plays where they look exactly the same, but 3 different outcomes can happen, right? He can hand the ball up. Like, okay, so they run this RPO up by the goal line 3 different times in the last two games that Anthony Richardson's played. One time he handed the football off, the running back ran right up behind Quentin Nelson, touchdown. The other one, he held on to the football, took it to the outside the left tackle, followed his blockers, blam, touchdown. The other one, he followed his blocker, and instead of the guy that was on the tight end, instead of staying on the tight end, he came up on Anthony Richardson. Richardson just threw it right over him, over to the tight end, touchdown, right? Run, pass, option, right? So you get that's what I love about the RPO. In a true RPO, it's not just run or run, right? It is, you have 2 or 3 legitimate targets that you could throw the football to also if that defense comes off their guys to try to get to the quarterback. So this is going to be something to keep an eye on because Tennessee Titans, they're aggressive. They are a very aggressive defense. So, all right, man. I appreciate you taking time out. Real quick, just, who you got tomorrow? I never got a chance tomorrow.
You didn't get a chance to ask me. I'm taking the Colts tomorrow. I know I've taken the Colts every week so far, but honestly, this is the division game. Tannehill is not the guy. Whoever. It's just, I just feel like the Colts have the edge here if they're able to stick to the game plan, stop the run game of Tennessee. It hasn't been super potent, but you can't let Derrick Henry get going. I mean, that's just a different animal when he gets running the football. But you trust and believe this is going to be a physical game. Mike Vrabel is a player's coach. He's one of those guys where it's a Detroit situation where he gets his guys going. And they understand the magnitude of this game. This is a very, 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 I can't stress enough, big, important game for the Colts here in the division, right? Like I said before, the division is up for grabs, and I don't think that this division is not a cakewalk. I think this is an under-respected division just because of traditionally how these teams have played in the past few years. But this is a hard division where this isn't just going to be just you have one team that's just a clear-cut favorite over everybody else. This is a division that's up for grabs for real, and all these games are very, very crucial in seeing who's going to make the playoffs.
All right. Well, appreciate you again for taking time out at last-minute notice on to come in here and talk about Jonathan Taylor and the extension. Guys, don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're listening to the audio podcast, make sure you leave a review. And until next time, as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts, baby.
Do you believe?